Welcome to the IPR Commercialization project by Developing Africa Group. This is the first Pan-African IPR commercialization project intended to consolidate efforts to commercialize intellectual property rights across Africa. Here are a few examples of the remarkable impact intellectual property rights has had on the continent of Africa, and Africans as well. Intellectual property rights has single-handedly created some of the best-known Nigerian intellects in the world today. These Nigerians have achieved international standards despite all the issues and challenges Nigeria is known for, including lack of political support or motivation and tough climate to do business. Grammy Award-winning Ibenolu Ogulu, also known as Burna Boy, is from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. He represents musical performance arts. He and other talents like him are the reason Afrobeats is now on the top genre of music in the world, beating rock, country, R&B and rap. These Afrobeat stars are big business for their promoters. When it comes to music world records, Afrobeats is doing very well. Wizkid is another Afrobeats megastar. In 2021 he sold out the O2 Arena in London in 12 minutes. 6 other Afrobeats artists have also sold out the O2 Arena in less than 13 minutes. This is a remarkable achievement, considering the international artists on that list include Spice Girls, Rihanna, Gary Barlow and the Rolling Stones. In Atlanta, Burna Boy became the first African to sell out the prestigious 20,000 capacity State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Award-winning Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, from Enugu, Nigeria, is a world-acclaimed author and writer, and her books have won various international awards. When it comes to the film industry, we have Genevieve Naji. She is a Nigerian actress from Mae, Imo State, Nigeria. She is also producer and director, responsible for some of the best films produced about Nigeria, and one of the reasons why the Nollywood film industry is ranking high at the moment. It was reported that her film Lionheart was bought by Netflix for $3.8 million and grossed $24.3 million. As of 2021, the Nollywood film industry is worth $6.4 billion, producing 2,500 films per year. By comparison, Bollywood is worth $2.8 billion, considering India's population is more than all of Africa's population combined. Chinese cinema is worth $12.8 billion, considering they sell 500 times more tickets than Hollywood, which is worth $51 billion. The point we are seeking to make is as follows: Nollywood is ahead of Bollywood, and chasing the tails of China and Hollywood, it still achieved a multi-billion-dollar status without a national political support system, like those enjoyed in China and the United States. One can only imagine what Nollywood can become if some of its issues and challenges are addressed. Moving to scientists, it has been well established that when Nigerian scientists are given a solid platform to exist, away from the troubles in Nigeria, their creative genes go into overdrive. First on our list is Dr. Bennett Omayu, from Enugu, Nigeria, who was the first to discover and publish findings on chronic traumatic encephalopathy in American football players. Hollywood film Concussion was based on his work. Finally, we have Professor Charles Yuhi, is also an Igbo, was a professor of mechanical engineering and the director of the Advanced Electronic Packaging and Laser Processing Laboratory at the Georgia Institute of Technology. He has 11 patents to his name. The IPR Commercialization project is the manifestation of the vision of Africa we all believe we should have. It is an ecosystem that will allow IPR owners, not only in Nigeria, but we have deliberately included other African countries. We have included the most spoken national languages in Africa, including Swahili, French, Portuguese, Spanish and Arabic. This is mainly because Nigeria can only be a giant of Africa when Kenya, Uganda, Somalia, Sudan, South Africa, Eswatini, Mozambique, Angola, Ghana, Senegal and Western Sahara all stand shoulder to shoulder with us. There is no giant of Africa unless we are all giants of Africa. It is a system that will enable an African with a talent to convert that talent into an intellectual property right, have that right protected, and then showcased to the international market for commercialization. Our legal team will automatically protect all IPRs on our platform and negotiate terms for our users. This is how the process will work. 1. You download the app. 2. You convert your talent into one or more of the IPRs that exists. 3. Your talent is formalized and registered in your name. This will now become your digital asset. 4. Your identity is linked to your digital asset, and the aim is to ensure no one else can steal your asset or pretend to be you. 5. All this information is stored on blockchain. 6. Your asset is exposed to the commercial market and potential buyers. 7. Once an interest is generated, we will use smart contracts to secure the agreement, payment due, and link it to your blockchain. 8. Once a contract is agreed and a payment is due, you will be paid digitally and get confirmation all on your mobile phone. This is the process we want to repeat across Africa, enabling Africans to use their talents to trade their way out of poverty without asking for political favors. Here are 3 clear examples of how African talent can be converted into intellectual property rights and commercialized. There are 2 clarifications to make from the onset. Firstly, our definition of African talent includes both the human and nature in Africa. Secondly, these projects will be supported by Developing Africa Group in order to ensure community benefits are derived from them. The first example is pictures of landscapes. One example of where African pictures can be used is in the calendar printing market. The market is worth almost $500 million. In our approach, the aim is to produce content that is rare and target high-end markets, as well as a means for Africans in the diaspora to consume their own landscapes as a reminder of home. Second example, Lion King is a story about an African pride in South Africa. We all know how well that African story is doing commercially across the world. As a matter of fact, it has done over $1 billion in the box office alone, let alone merchandising. We want to create more stories like that, license them, and not only make them available in English, but syndicated across the world. 3. It is well established that many African tourism locations are a struggle to reach by road. Africa's infrastructure can be a horror story, especially in the rural areas. Many of these locations get about 10,000 visits a year, and there are many factors that go into attracting visitors into successful African tourism locations. Our point is that Africa is missing out on the 1 million potential digital visitors to these locations per month. With virtual tourism and virtual reality schemes, many African locations can be presented digitally to attract the million visitor per month market. For example, if 25,000 visitors take part in these locations and pay a fee of $10 per month, that would generate $250,000 a month to locations that previously never had that much of a visit. These are some of the schemes we are looking to bring to African communities and use them as a means of creating employment and trade services. As it stands today in Africa, many African neighbors are unable to share ideas or solutions with each other. Cameroon is a neighbor to Nigeria, and quite often, Nigeria will prefer to go to England, whilst Cameroon would prefer to go to France for their solutions. It makes you wonder, does it not, why these 2 neighbors cannot try to work together with so many things in common? The same situation is repeated across Africa. The solution has to start with Africa being able to share its problems with the range of talents we have in Africa, and if international suppliers are needed to provide a solution. This is a welcome idea because it will ultimately create employment for Africans too. This is the vision we have for Africa, and it is one that will allow a talent from Lesotho to create a solution that can be implemented to solve problems in Ghana and Senegal. In conclusion, we hope we have been able to explain our plan to commercialize intellectual property rights in Africa, and look forward to hearing from you. Please follow us on Twitter and drop us an email at omo-akin@developingafrica.net, or drop us a WhatsApp message on +44 7812039867.